guys, my name is Mitch Joynt. I'm a New Zealand Paralympian sprinter, and I'm here to sort of teach you guys about the sprint mechanics and running mechanics and how to run fast, how to be agile in football. So sprint mechanics in the most basic, simplest way is you want to get your knees up, you want to get your toes up. You want to land flat-footed, and you want to get your knees up to 90 degrees. That's sort of ideal, that's what you're aiming for. We're about to do a lot of drills that do that. It's easier said than done. It takes a little bit of practice. And the reason we're about to do all these drills so slowly and at walking pace is, I like to say it's like riding a bike. The slower you go, the harder it is to balance. So if you can do all this stuff while walking, it's a lot easier to do while running. So this is Mia doing a march. As you can see, her knees coming up and there's 90 degrees at the hip and she's landing flat-footed. That's what you want. So this is the exact same positions, you're doing the exact same drill, but by doing it one-sided, you're forcing your body to sort of be able to coordinate a bit more and just have better control of your own limbs. So this is called a repeater. Again, exactly the same position that we're aiming for in the last few drills, but it's just adding that coordination aspect into it and just forcing your brain to have to control every part of your limb rather than just letting it happen naturally. This one is switch march. Again, like I've said before, we're still hitting that A position like we always have, but it's just about trying to get that foot speed as quickly as possible. Another A drill that just promotes that foot speed, and it also forces you to balance between each step. So again, you can't just use the momentum of the steps before. Every movement you're making, you're consciously making, which is really important. Nice. So yeah, this one again, it takes the balance aspect out of it, but it's just working on that speed of foot, which is obviously important in running fast. Okay, so we're just going to do a series of short sprints. In football, you're never actually really probably ever going to hit top speed, maybe once or twice a season. So to be fast in football, it's actually all about just acceleration, just getting up to a reasonably fast speed as quickly as you possibly can. The way you do that is using those drills we've already done, hitting that A position and just making the most out of each step. So for all of these, we're going to start from a really low position. The two positions you can start from, as a beginner, you probably can just start from like a 3-point start, which is 1 point, 2 point, 3 points on the ground, and then your other arm can just go wherever you want. This just forces you to, as soon as you step out, you're going to be in a lower position to drive out from. The other way you can do it is you can also start from a press-up start, which you just lay down here, and then when you go, you have to accelerate. And again, just forces you to be low. Never going to need to do that in a game, but it just teaches you that the lower you are, the better you're going to accelerate, because to go fast that way, you have to be pushing that way. So your body needs to be facing in that direction, right? Swing. So first one now just out to 10 meters. Nice. So the reason you go for longer runs, so the 10-meter one, you strictly want to be staying low, which Mia does really well. From then on, you're probably going to start standing up taller and taller, but you want to make sure that you're still pushing that way. Once we go past the pink cone, once you sort of reach your top speed or the top speed you're going to reach, you really don't want anything out the back. You want to focus on as much out the front and just pushing off the ground as hard as you can, because the key to running is once you're up to speed, the only thing slowing you down is touching the ground. So you just want to touch the ground as little as possible. So you want to have your foot on the ground and off the ground as quickly as possible, and you want to try and take as big as steps as practical, which is why it's important to get that knee up, because it means to go from here to here, back to here, takes a bit longer. you're going to glide in the air for longer, you're going to have to take less steps in total, you're going to cover more distance faster. Okay, so now we're going to move on to some plyometric stuff, which is just jumping. So much of speed and agility is just about being powerful and being explosive, and jumping is probably the easiest way to get that benefit out of it without going into some sort of complex gym programs. You can do this all at the field or in a park or at home. First one we're going to do is called rocket jumps, and it's strictly about being able to get off the ground as quickly as possible and only using your ankles. So you're not bending at the hips or the knees too much. They're kind of like soft so you don't get injured, but you're only hopping from your ankles, which I only have none of pretty much, but okay. And it's just about getting off the ground as quickly as possible. Yeah, that's better. Yep. The next one is going to be, so now you are going to jump from your hips and your knees, and it's just jump for height. So this one is less about getting off the ground quickly, just because you're going to take longer to do the action, but you still don't want to like linger on the ground. Like you're not taking rests in between. But jump for height, it's exactly what it sounds like. Okay. Yeah, nice. So if you just jump one after the other, which is kind of good like in an endurance sense, but every time you jump, you're immediately using the last jump to do the next jump. If you pause between each one, so you sort of jump and then jump, it makes each individual jump technically perfect, hopefully, but like it makes you have to work 100% every single time. Yeah. You're like, you don't have to fully balance between each one, but just make sure each jump is its own thing. As you start here and you're just gonna step off and then rebound up. I do it this way where you jump up onto something because it lowers the impact on your joints, because obviously you're coming up here, you're only dropping this high to do the rebound. You get the same effect, if not added effect, because you're doing an extra box jump, but you're also just limiting the impact on your ankle by having to step off a high height to do it. It's not necessarily that high of a jump, but you're jumping up and then rebounding. Nice. We are going to do some change of direction stuff. Obviously in football, it's all about change of direction. Running fast is mainly about speed and power, but changing direction is actually about like using your own body weight and sort of predicting as well as you can what direction you need to go and sort of pre-planning all that stuff. So this drill is going to help do that. Pink cone is always your start, and you're always going to face the same direction. Okay, so pretend like the goal is behind you. You're always facing away from the goal. You're going to sidestep out to yellow cone, and then you're going to run to each cone, going around the world from the start. Next drill or session, I like to call whistle runs. It sort of adds on to that agility and speed and change of direction stuff, but it adds in a bit of a endurance and a workout element to it. Essentially, it's a shuttle run, but you don't decide where the shuttle ends, the whistle does. So whenever you hear the whistle, you're going to change direction. You go out easy, 100% on the way back, and we switch up what direction you're going and sort of mix up the changing of direction and stuff like that. So she jogs out easy, sprints back as soon as she hears the whistle. Immediately turns back round, jogs out easy. Because she never knows when the whistle's coming, it means she has to always be on her toes, has to always be prepared, has to be ready to turn at any moment. Making sure you're always changing the length of the rep so they can never sort of predict when it's going to happen, because in a football game you can't really ever predict that sort of stuff, so you want to always keep them on their toes. So this one she's going to be running backwards and then running forwards at 100% when she hears the whistle. You always want to stand out of view of the athlete so they can never, just watch the whistle for when you're going to blow it. They always have to be sort of on edge and listening. Okay, when you're ready. Sweet. Thank you so much for joining us on Football Divas. I've been Mitch Joynt, Paralympian 234.